So the other day I got into a heated conversation with some of you guys in the comment section of the previous video concerning the laptop casings, and there was this conversation between some of the users that it's good to have a plastic casing for a laptop than having a metallic casing for a laptop. So just before I go into details, I have these 3 laptops here. One of them is plastic, the others are aluminum casing. It's almost metallic, yeah? So this is the plastic casing, as you can see here. This one right here, metallic casing, latest HP models. And then we have MacBook, which has the aluminum casing right from the beginning, even the traditional, the olden days. So it says a lot about having a metallic casing for a laptop, because MacBook is that one laptop with the, in terms of the build and everything, it's like the checklist point, yeah. This is where we check book the other laptops, yeah. Sorry to say this, but that's how it always is, because they're all the MacBook, most of them, like normally they're premium laptops, yeah. So that's why for the HP they had to come up with this aluminum casing too. I don't know about Lenovo, but the one I have here is the plastic one, so we're just going to use it as an example. There are some newer models they've changed on the casing, but some of their models, like the DearPads, the previous generations, 10th generation backwards, they still use the plastic casing, yeah. So much about that. Let's not get into the difference between these 2 laptops. So I'm just going to give you some of the advantages of the plastic casing and the disadvantages of the plastic casing. So let's start with the plastic casing, because this is the most interesting part. So for the plastic casing, first of all, it makes the laptop so light, yeah. Having a plastic casing for a laptop is light, and most of these laptops with the plastic casing, they are light, and let's say if the laptop is overheating, or maybe when the processor is heating, the heat will just be flushed out of the laptop through the ventilation ports, and the body or the casing won't get hot, because plastics don't conduct heat. So the laptop will just remain as cool, or as just not so hot but warm, and that is normal. At least you want to get burnt by touching the casing of the laptop, yeah. So that's one of the advantages. But the disadvantages of this laptop now is this casing is so fragile. If the laptop just happens to fall down from your hands, be sure that you're going to have some hinge issues or some dents on the laptop, broken dents, yeah. So it's going to be pretty catastrophic, and even the hinges are not usually so good. So they're just good if they're new, and with time the hinges are going to break out. So that's one of the main disadvantage of having a plastic casing for a laptop. And another disadvantage is, see now what happens if you try to maybe bend this laptop. You can see the laptop is bending. So if you bend this laptop this way, it means that you're bending the motherboard too, and the high chances that the motherboard is going to have some breaks, and that will cause the laptop maybe to not even power on at all, because you've broken the motherboard, or you've maybe distracted the RAM from its position, which is just so bad. So you can see if you try to bend it, the laptop is bending, yeah. So it means that it's so fragile. You can see on the screen, so fragile. And it also means that even if something pressed on the screen on this side, there's high chances that the screen is going to get spoiled, yeah. So now let's get to the aluminum casing. So the aluminum casing, I'll just start with the main disadvantage, because before I go to the advantage, because there's so many. So the disadvantage of this one is when the laptop is overheating, or when the processor gets so hot, it gets attached to the casing of the laptop. And remember, it's metallic and it's aluminum, so it conducts heat very fast. So the disadvantage of that is that when it conducts heat, the laptop body gets hot. So if you touch this part, some points of the laptop, you find that they become so hot, yeah. So that's a disadvantage, but again it's an advantage, because if those parts get hot, and then they get the exposure of the outside air, they get cooled. The laptop cools so faster compared to the plastic one. Yeah, so at some point it's an added advantage because it makes cooling efficient, but it's also a disadvantage because now the laptop's casing is so hot you can't touch it. So to the advantages, first thing first, you can't even bend it. Yeah, it's so strong you can't bend it. Yeah, and even when the laptop falls or slips from your hand and falls down, chances are high that it's not going to break, but you're just going to have some small dents. And that one, most of you can attest to that. If you have such a laptop with a metallic casing, most of them, even if they fall, you just have some small dents at the corners, but it's not going to break into parts. And another good thing about them is that the hinges. You'll never find this laptop with broken hinges because the hinges are so strong. They rarely break apart. See? So strong hinges. Unless now you've just decided to break it on your own. But in most of the cases, if you just use them well accordingly, the hinges are so strong they're not going to break. So that's advantage of having a metallic casing for a laptop. And on a MacBook, I'm not going to explain so much because these was the, how do we call it now? These are the pioneers. Yeah, this is the checking point of having a durable, something stylish yet durable laptop. Yeah, just from the casing. Tell me if you've ever found any MacBook with a broken hinge. Tell me if you've ever, in the comment section, because honestly speaking, for the longest time that I've been alive, I've never seen a MacBook with a broken hinge. Never. It's like 0% and can never happen. So the hinges are usually so strong, and once again the chassis or the casing is very strong too, and even if it falls, you just get to see some small dents at the corners. Yeah, that rarely happens. So honestly speaking, generally speaking, from a point of view, I prefer having metallic casing for a laptop than having a plastic one. It's good to have a plastic one, maybe if you can't afford having the one with aluminum casing, because one thing for sure is that the ones with aluminum casing are pretty expensive than the ones with the plastic casings. That's why you can easily find a brand new laptop with a plastic casing. You can find a new one, it's so affordable, than finding aluminum casing one and buying it at a new price, because you just afford the refurbished ones compared to having it a new one, because a new one is just as expensive as MacBook. If you find this comparison pretty informative, don't forget to subscribe as always, and I really appreciate your support, guys. So don't forget to subscribe to this account, and don't forget to like on the video. See you next time on another video. Bye bye. Thank you so much. Subscribe once again. Bye.